All right, well, it's time for us to move on to our next project and our next lesson. So before we start the actual project, we will make a helpful resource for us. And what we are going to be doing for this project is creating value, which is something that should be familiar to you. But instead of doing it with pencil, we're going to be doing it with paint. So for this first part, I would like you to go ahead and copy what I'm going to do. This is going to create kind of like a worksheet, but we're going to be making it ourselves. So anything I do, you're going to copy. You can use a pencil or a pen, just whatever you have. If you have a highlighter, you can use it. If you don't, no big deal. I'm just going to highlight some things so that you know what to look for and what is important. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, or the first type of color we're going to talk about, is just a basic true color. What we call that is a hue. So I want you to go ahead and write down hue, H-U-E. And what a hue is a true color. So you can write that underneath the word hue. Now, next to this hue or this true color, with a ruler, you're going to just draw a basic, simple, doesn't have to be perfect, 1-inch box. So I'm just going to use the ruler. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, just eyeball a box. Okay, so that's for our hue. I will draw an arrow pointing to that box so I know that that's where the hue is going to be. Okay, the next one that we're going to be doing is a tint. So it's spelled T-I-N-T, not like a tent you go camping in. And what a tint is a color or a hue mixed with, so I'll do a plus sign, white. So a hue mixed with white. Let's do another box for our tint. About 1 inch in all directions. All right, so we have our hue and our tint. Now, the opposite of a tint is what we call a shade. So let's see, where are we going to write shade? There's 2 ways to create a shade. So we can first just write shade, S-H-A-D-E. And what a shade is a hue mixed with, I want you to guess the first way to do it. So if it's the opposite of a tint is a hue mixed with white, what's a shade going to be? If you said black or were thinking black, you are correct. Correct. All right, so it's a hue plus black. That's one way to do it. Let's go ahead and do our box. And then the other way to do it for another shade, so I'll write shade again. I'll do a nice little or, so you know there's 2 ways to do a shade. Is going to be a hue plus the complementary color of that hue. Then just wherever you find room, we're going to draw a box to do that other type of shade. And let's go back and add some of these arrows. All right, Now we have 4 boxes done. It's time for us to create 2 value scales, or the outlines of 2 different value scales. This is going to be the same as, very similar to what we did when we did our grayscale or our graphite value scales with the pencil. So I'm going to draw a line from the 0 to the 7, and then I'm just going to do a small mark at every inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we had one at the 7. Then I'm gonna draw another line on the bottom, just kind of eyeballing where it should be to connect, and again just eyeballing where that mark would be for every inch. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, let's connect them. Okay, so that's our 7 different squares value scale. We're gonna do one more value scale, and this one is gonna be the same, the outline will be the same size, we just won't have it separated into the different squares. It's just gonna be one long rectangle. So go ahead and make that. Okay, now that we have this done, it's time for us to paint. So we can move on to the next video.